G'day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. So I'm going to keep this video short and sweet. Basically, this is going to be my first impressions review of the new GoPro Hero 11 Black Mini. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, there's only one real reason why this would be beneficial to myself and some users, and it's definitely not because of the size. Realistically, when you compare it to a full-size Hero 11 Black, there's really not that much size savings, and in fact the weight is pretty close to being the same. If we take a look at them on a scale here, you can see a full-size GoPro comes in at 154 grams, and the Hero 11 Black Mini comes in at 131 grams. So you're looking at just over 20 grams saving when it comes to weight. So if you're looking for a small mountable camera, something that's lightweight, there are better options on the market, something like the Action 2 or even the Insta360 Go 2. However, in my opinion, some of those cameras just doesn't give you the same kind of quality as the Hero 11 Black Mini. But you're really not saving a lot of weight. Now, the one reason why I do think this is a very beneficial camera to myself and to many other people, and that is the fact that it doesn't have any screens. Realistically, on a GoPro, the back screen and the front screen are the most delicate components. Now, of course, the lens is delicate as well, but this can be easily replaced if it gets damaged. It's a fairly inexpensive fix. So for somebody who is going to be mounting this in ways where it could potentially get knocked around a little bit, something like the Hero 11 Black Mini is the perfect choice. Of course, we do have that tiny little screen at the top, but just due to its size, chances of it getting damaged are very small. Now, myself, I use my GoPros for many different purposes. I use them on my YouTube channel, filming B-roll, when we're traveling and adventuring. But one thing I also like to use them for is mounting on my RC vehicles. Of course, if you're a regular to my channel, you know I love drones, but I also love RC vehicles. I have a few different ones, my favorite being the Traxxas X-Max. And quite often, just to get some interesting footage, I'll mount a GoPro on it. The only problem with mounting a GoPro on those RC vehicles is sometimes they don't always do what you want them to do, and they don't always stay rubber side down. Quite often they're flipping over, and you can easily damage a GoPro. I believe it was my Hero 8, I ended up shattering the back screen on it in that exact scenario. Even the other day I was at the beach with my X-Max and I had the Hero 11 Black Mini mounted on the top, just getting some footage. And of course I ran right into a stump at a pretty high rate of speed. I ended up doing about $200 damage to the truck. My GoPro went flying, but of course there was no damage done to it. You can see there's still a lot of sand stuck to it. Now there's a good chance that if I had a full-size GoPro in there, it would be okay as well because it just landed on sand. But when that happens on asphalt or concrete, quite often you're not as lucky. If you're a person who likes to fly FPVs, again, that could come in very beneficial. FPV drones crash all the time, and quite often the things that break on it are the screens or the lens here if you hit something hard. But again, that lens can be easily replaced. You're not going to be saving a lot of weight or size mounting something like the GoPro Mini on there, but you'll have a nice durable camera on there that can probably take a crash or two without being destroyed. And because it is a full-featured camera when it comes to video, you'll have that beautiful 5K footage, hyper smooth, the new 8:7 aspect ratio, and the ability to stabilize it in GoPro Real Steady. Now, not having any screens on the GoPro Hero 11 Black Mini gives it an advantage in those types of situations, but it also becomes a hindrance. We only have this top little screen at the top to change settings, and on top of that, you can only change some of the most basic settings. If you have to go in and really adjust things, you do have to connect it to the GoPro Quick app. And that's kind of one problem that I have had with my Hero 11 Black Mini. I don't know if it's just mine, but connecting it to the GoPro app seems to be a little bit problematic for me. Any other GoPro I've ever had connects every time, no issue. But with this one, it seems like I have to reclose the app a few times, restart this a few times, just to get it to recognize it. So that has been kind of a pain when you really rely on that GoPro Quick app to adjust settings and sometimes frame your shot. And that brings me to my next point, and that is GoPro Labs. If you are going to be purchasing the Hero 11 Black Mini, I highly recommend installing the GoPro Labs beta firmware. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail into this video what GoPro Labs is if you're not quite aware. I have made a few videos in the past. Basically, it is experimental firmware that does give you some extra features, but it does allow you to change settings by creating QR codes that you just have to point the camera at. So with a camera like this, it's very simple to change settings just by making some pre-made QR codes. I'll just show you a quick example here. There's an app called QR Control, and within here you can change whatever settings you want. You can set what mode you want to be in, your resolution, your frames per second. You can set your image stabilization, wide, Pro Tune settings, all different aspects of what you want to film. And what it does here is it creates a QR code that you can then save to your camera roll, or it will save it here right within the app. So when you open up your camera roll, I've already exported a few here. You can see at the bottom each one can be named. I just named that one there 5K. This one is 5K, 8x7, 30 frames per second. And all you have to do is power your GoPro on, point it at that QR code. You can see there it's going to change to the new mode. If we go to the other one, you can see it changes to that. So it's a quick and simple way to change from different filming modes and settings without having to connect to the GoPro app every time. Now, one thing that is different here with the GoPro Mini is that we have two sets of mounting fingers. We have the standard one here at the bottom, but we also have this one here at the back. Now, personally myself, this one here at the back, I don't find all that useful. Now, that's just me and the way I use my GoPros. I'm sure there's going to be other people that do find it very handy, but it doesn't give me any advantage mounting it there than it does from the bottom mounts, again, in the way I use my cameras. I personally would have loved to have seen a mount on the side. That would make mounting on the side of a helmet or a vehicle a little bit easier without having to use a lot of different adapters. On top of that, it would be a nice simple way to capture vertical video if you needed to. Now, of course, the Hero 11 Black Mini does have a built-in battery, so that is something important to keep in mind. That could be a very big hindrance to some people. Once the battery dies, basically you're done filming until you recharge it. You may also be thinking that without a replaceable battery, once that battery becomes no good anymore after time, then the camera is garbage. I'm not really too worried about that myself. I have many products that I've used over the years. Some products that are, 3-4 years old that have built-in batteries, and they still work perfectly fine. Most of the time, those built-in batteries will outlive the life of the camera. So that's not something I'm too worried about. But definitely not having a replaceable battery is not ideal for a lot of situations. Now, one thing I do want to point out here, as I have had many different questions about it, and that is the overheating. Can this perform longer than a full-size GoPro without shutting down due to getting too hot? Now, like many people, I assumed when it was first announced that it would last longer just because it didn't have any screens, and it has this kind of like heat sink on the back. I thought that would be better at dissipating heat. Well, it turns out that that's definitely not the case. I did some heat comparison tests with the Hero 11 Black Mini against the regular sized Hero 11. Now, I just did them at my desk here, and I know it's not a truly accurate test because when you are outside, there's going to be air movement, and it tends not to overheat as quickly. But doing a heat comparison here at the desk is just a good baseline, because both are in the exact same environment, they're running at the same settings, so it gives us a good feel of which one will overheat quicker. Of course, in different environments and different situations, those results will vary. But it is kind of interesting to see the differences. I did make some notes here, and I'll kind of read them to you. When filming at 5K 30, and all the other settings were the same, I had stabilization turned on, because when you have stabilization turned on, it does generate more heat. The Hero 11 Black Mini overheated at 1 hour, 1 minute, and 14 seconds, whereas the full-size Hero 11 Black overheated at 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 41 seconds, so a little bit longer. At 5K 60, the Hero 11 Mini overheated at 18 minutes and 25 seconds. The full-size Hero 11 overheated at 24 minutes and 39 seconds. Again, all the same settings. The other test I did is at 4K 120. The Hero 11 Mini was able to record for 13 minutes and 32 seconds, whereas the Hero 11 was able to go for 20 minutes and 39 seconds. So you can see the pattern there that it is overheating a little bit quicker. Now, when I recorded at 4K 30, both cameras were able just to record until the battery was depleted. The Hero 11 Black Mini was about the 1 hour and 6 minute mark, and this was about an hour and 20 minutes somewhere in there. Now, if you are thinking about purchasing the Hero 11 Black Mini, I do want to point out some of its limitations. Although basically it is a full-featured Hero 11, there are some things that are missing. Most notably, there's no photo mode. So if you want to take pictures with your GoPro or photo time lapses, you're not able to do so. Now you can take video time lapses, just not photo time lapses. Now some of the other features that are missing are GPS, video looping. There's no hindsight, no live bursts, no scheduled capture, no duration capture. And because it doesn't support the media mod, there's no HDMI out available, and it does not support connecting a microphone. Unfortunately, at this point, there's no way to connect an external microphone to it. I was hoping it would be compatible with the microphone adapter that GoPro sells, but at this point in time, it's not. Now, that doesn't mean it won't be in the future. I think it was with the Hero 10 Black when they first launched it. It didn't support that microphone adapter either until sometime in December when they released a firmware update. So I am hoping they add some microphone support to it sometime soon. After all, a lot of people may like this for motovlogging, and they're going to need a way to connect a microphone to it. Now overall, it's not a bad little camera. I think for most people, general usage, you'll get better use out of a full-size GoPro. But for those situations where you don't want a camera to get damaged because it's going to be in some pretty hairy situations, then something like this is a good choice. I really like the direction that GoPro was heading. I still hope that down the road they come in with something a little even smaller. At the end of the day, GoPro is an imaging company. Their cameras are great for capturing point of view. So I think we need some more tools that allow us to capture point of view without a big bulky camera. I think they should introduce a camera like the Insta360 Go 2, something small and wearable, or perhaps even something like the Action 2, that's small, wearable, but still gives us a full touchscreen on the back. Well folks, those are basically just my thoughts of the Hero 11 Black Mini. Again, that's just my opinion on how I use my GoPros. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and got some value out of it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. It's always greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And we'll see you in the next one.